Well, good morning and welcome to April 2nd, 2019. We're into the month of Easter here and things are starting to change. We're seeing the weather change. Yesterday was the first time where I was sitting out in the park doing some work and I suddenly realized that I probably should have brought a jumper, just a light one, because the breeze was cold. Now, up here on the Gold Coast, 21 degrees is cold, but I got to say that overnight, last night, it went down to 11 degrees, which is not freezing up here. It does get down to zero where I live, but noticeably different, and it certainly makes sleeping a lot easier when the humidity's dropped and winter starts to come. We get cooler weather. So, Queensland's pretty well known for its humidity and its heat, and that's why everyone comes here to play. But we certainly look forward to spring and autumn and winter because the humidity drops considerably, which makes our life a lot more bearable. So yes, winter is on its way, Jon Snow. Not that I've ever seen that series, but it's a good saying. And I'm looking forward to that because winter for me is my favourite time of year. I used to live up in the highlands of New South Wales where it got down to -10 in winter, and I extremely missed that. But as my wife likes it here on the Gold Coast and my kids go to the schools here on the Gold Coast, it's not really an option for me to move anywhere else. So I try and visit cold places during winter if I can. I sneak out and get a little bit of cold into the bones. So today, a couple of questions to look at. The first one is, do you need to pay big bucks to get #1 on Google? And this is a really good question. And the reason that it is a good question is because it actually brings up two sides to an argument. Excuse me one second. I'm just going to give my camera a little clean. Okay, that's better. I apologize for that, but I seem to be a little fuzzy. So, yeah, do you need to pay big bucks to be #1? Yes and no. It's a combination of factors. So you kind of got two options. You can pay big dollars or you can pay in time. It's your choice. It's really what it comes down to. If you pay in time, you've got a learning curve, you've got to produce content, you've got to do everything yourself. If you pay big dollars, you can get someone to do it quickly, efficiently, and have it done really quickly. So a lot of my clients in past years when I've been running workshops, which I'm starting to do again, used to come to the workshops. And one of the times I asked one of them, why are you at the workshop? You pay me to do this. And they said, well, I want to understand better what you do and, how it affects what we do on a day-to-day basis. Plus, as I go forward, I wanted a bigger knowledge of this topic. And I thought, okay, well, that's a pretty fair question. And it was very, soon that I discovered that people didn't pay me to do SEO for them because they couldn't do it. They paid me to do SEO for them because that they didn't have the time to spend on SEO. And that was a big differentiation because I felt kind of sometimes, that imposter syndrome sort of thing. It's like, why are you paying me to do this? Because I personally found it interesting and easy. And I came to realize, well, yeah, it is interesting. And to me, it's easy, but it's hard work and it takes a lot of time for someone else to do. So if you're going to do it yourself, you're looking at doing all your on-site SEO. And my experience tells me from having worked with people who are doing it themselves and sometimes guiding them, that it can take someone, 6 to 10 weeks to kind of get their SEO on-site done. Whereas I can sit down and do it in a day because I know exactly what I'm doing. I have a process that I follow. I have a checklist that I use, and I'm able to, make that happen. So, time is a factor in anything, but you could be looking at being 10 weeks down the track before your SEO is finished and starting to see results when it could be a week in that you start to see things change if you pay someone. So this is definitely an important factor to realize. And then there's content creation, link building, and citations and maps listings and all that sort of stuff that goes with it that you need to think about and think about whether you really have time to sit there. And most people in my experience don't have time. They really don't. They'd like to. They know they can do it, and I agree they can do it. That's why I teach people how to do it. But they don't have the time to do it. So do you need to pay big bucks? Yes, you do, because you're paying people like me for our time. And if you're paying a company that's overseas that cheaply outsources everything, you're generally paying for the management of their staff and the payment of the staff overseas. In the end, it's hands-on. It has to be done by a person. You can't circumvent the on-site personal hands-on work that has to be done with SEO. That's just the way it is. Everything. You want to write an article, someone has to write it. You want to get a backlink from somewhere, someone has to chase that backlink. You want to do the SEO on a page, someone has to do it. So, if you work it out, if you're paid, $45 an hour, which is a pretty basic sort of price these days. If you're a tradie, about over $150 an hour. A designer, generally, $190 an hour is a fair price for a graphic designer. If you think about how much, $200 an hour, say, or even let's just go with $100 an hour. If it takes me, 12 hours to go through your site, which might be, say, 20 to 30 pages, and do all the SEO on your site and get it all right and adjust it all up and everything, you're looking at 20 to 30 times $100. 12 hours by $100. Woo, where did my maths go? 12 hours. So you're looking at $1,200 alone just there on that part of the process. So in my own opinion, most times people get off pretty cheap. So what I see is that the markets vary depending on where you live. So for example, an SEO specialist like myself here, if I was to work for a company on the Gold Coast, and this is based on ads in Seek, they would offer me $65,000 to do this sort of work for them, for their clients. If I went to Sydney, I could get $170,000. So my advice to you, if you're going to hire a company, you're better to hire someone like me who charges, fair prices and Gold Coast prices than you going to Sydney and paying their prices, because I can guarantee the people in Sydney will be outsourcing their stuff. So it'll be going to Fiji or India or probably Philippines these days. Whereas often companies like mine, I do the hands-on SEO myself. So if you choose the other route and you do the work yourself, then, good on you. You can do it. I believe in it. That's why I teach SEO. It's easy to do. It's just the time involved. And if you're busy, you just won't have time. So do you need to pay big bucks? Yes, because it's the ongoing work and you will run out of time unless you're completely focused on that one project. If you're completely focused on that one project and you're producing regular content and all those sorts of things, then I have no doubt you'll make some headway in that area. But you're going to have to stay really niched in on your keywords. An SEO person will stay niched in. You will drift. So make sure you put your SEO keywords on a piece of paper on your computer and look at them every time you write a title. So the second part I'd like to talk about today is SEO with videos. And this one really interests me at the moment because I'm pushing down the video path a lot more and doing a lot more live stuff. I'm looking this week to start recording live podcast episodes using Zoom. So I'll be doing it in video, then I get the audio and transcriptions. And I'm, looking at SEO for video. And it really is actually important. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. We tend to think of it as a place you go to watch videos, but it's actually a search engine. And even I myself have not been taking the full advantage of this. There is a lot of traffic to be had on YouTube if you do research and look at what's going on with video titles and the descriptions and all that sort of stuff. 99% of the population doesn't do it. They just shove a title in of what the video is and a very short one-line sentence description, because you spend all the time creating content and it's like, well, why am I putting it all in the description area? Why am I writing all this stuff? They can watch the content quicker than they can read this. The problem is that description box is like the description tag, and Google uses that for information to work out what the video is. Now, you also have to remember that Google uses artificial intelligence to transcribe videos. So if you upload a video these days, you'll notice that after a couple of days, you come back and go into the transcription section or the closed captions, you'll see that YouTube will have actually transcribed your video, and you can edit that up and download it if you want to. So I have someone who goes through mine and edits it up and tidies it up. So I've got the overlays. But all of that Google is reading, and out of that, just like they do with a web page, they're deciding what your video is about. So beware that this is a big search engine and it's getting smarter all the time. So not only is it transcribing the closed captions, it's then reading those and working out if it's related to what you say your title is. So yes, you do need to do SEO with videos. You need to go through and you need to fill out the boxes properly, fill out your titles properly, etc. This has become quite a serious area because there's a lot of money in YouTube. You know, as we well know, we see all these famous YouTubers. They build their subscriber lists, and from there they become, you know, famous as they get shared, etc. So there's kind of a crossover into social media, of course. But the the how-to channels, for example, just start out with, you know, the basic SEO sort of stuff where they, you know, how to do this and how to do that. But they don't just randomly produce videos. Often there's a lot of research goes on in the background, just like the keyword research we do for writing articles. So there is tools that will allow you to look at what's being searched for on YouTube, just like you can see what's being searched for on Google. And what you need to do is start to look at those searches, and they will be similar, and start to produce your content around the searches that people are typing in. So that brings me to the end of this week's update, and I hope you're enjoying the cold down south if you're around Melbourne and those sorts of places. It's certainly, I noticed there was snow on Hotham and those sorts of mountains, which is pretty exciting. We've got another week before head to Adelaide for the Australian National Age Swimming titles, where my son will be swimming. My daughter didn't quite make it, but she tried really hard, just 2 seconds out over 200 metres. And so we'll be down there for a week. So if you're in the Adelaide area, I'll be in Adelaide between the 14th and the 22nd of April. If you'd like to catch up, feel free. We'll be at the Marion Swimming Centre during the day and then at night as well. So there's a big Westfield there. I'm happy to catch up for a cup of coffee. And certainly through the mornings, that's nice and easy for me to do. It's this old story. You kind of got racing all morning, then you have the afternoon off, and then you're back at 5 o'clock for finals at night, which is where the medals are. So I'll be down there, and then I'm heading to Queenstown for a week's holiday, which will be very, very nice. But I am coming to New Zealand later this year. I'll be running workshops in New Zealand, and I'll be starting to run some workshops around Australia. So keep your eyes out for those, and grab yourself a ticket. I'd love to see you there. We can do a little bit of closer one-on-one work. Take it easy. Catch you next week.